Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show After Show episode 557 today, 557. And so, welcome. And we got the audio going. So, we're all good. Oh, it seems a little down. Let's see. Let me kick that up a little bit. And let's try that. Test, 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 test. Alrighty. Okay. Good to be back with you. Unfortunately, unable to do after shows every day due to change in work schedule. But we'll do what we can, and also doing answering your financial question streams normally at 8 p.m. in the evenings during the weekdays, and could be 4 p.m. or 8 p.m. on the weekends that I can do it, and those will be hit or miss when there is. But I generally would like to do, if I could, at least 5 shows combined of these per week. So we'll see how it goes, and you find the financial content on Coach Steve Money slash nope, it's youtube.com/Coach Steve Money, and you just scroll past the Oak Island playlist and you see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist, and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist, and the music playlist that has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, including If You Want to Have Financial Peace, then you should do the baby steps. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba. You know how it goes. Ed Sheeran wrote it. Vocal stylings by the Beebs. Market report. And Dow down 0.24%, but overall market up today. And that's kind of good, is what we like to say that is. And so if we look at the past year, oh look, it's up in the past year. It's up 12% despite tariffs, despite whatever dumb crap is on the news. Look at that. It's up 12% in the past year. Shut up. Quit taking money out. Quit freaking out and overreacting to what is in the news. We are saving for the long term, and by the time you retire, the market's going to be up. Nasdaq up higher, of course, 11%, 44%. And so let's see where we are from the high, and almost back to the old high. Almost, not quite, but it's getting there. And so again, why be dumb and take it out? So dumb, so dumb. If there's a time where the market does not come back, then that's other problems for America, and you may have other problems than your retirement money. That's the Roman Empire falling at that point. That kind of thing. Worse than that, it maybe even. There'll be more people whining about it, probably. What else do we need to look at? Oh, yeah, let's check out the rest of the planet, shall we? All down in the Europe, everything up in the Asia. The US dollar is, it just changed, was up over the euro. Now down to the euro, down to the Japanese yen, down to the British pound, love, down to the Canadian dollar, and also down to the Australian dollar, mate. Australian said, nar, not gonna do that, and that is fine because the market tends to be up when the US dollar is down to the other currencies and vice versa. Not always, but sometimes. Oh, let's see, the most followed single stocks on the Google, and we're all up. Earlier, barely down, just a hair down, is Microsoft. But the rest of them are all up and led by, it looks like, the Google, 1.11%. Let's see, and I think that's all we need. Oh, anybody reporting Adobe on the 12th? What's today? The 9th. So that would be Thursday, right? I think I did my math right on that. And that's all for the market report. Got a couple articles. Click like and subscribe, and just remember to click it myself. Or not subscribe. I think I am subscribed to myself, but definitely try to remember to like my own videos. And hopefully you'll remember to do that as well. This from motor1.com. Do people not read the owner's manual anymore? Woman buys new Honda, then tries filling it up with gas. So, this is something that I wasn't aware that existed until today. I was this many years old today, or whatever. Today I learned. I was today years old. Something like that, like the kids say. Capless gas tank, it self-seals. So let's see, where is that? Yeah, there's no lid or anything, and so she couldn't handle it. And this is a beauty influencer. And so she freaked out when there was no cap on it. So, but apparently you fill it up the same way. So I did not know that. Also, in another story, this is from what, May 31st, and end of last month. Based on recent news reports and social media discussions, there have been claims that some of OpenAI's advanced AI models, particularly O3, O4/Mini, and Codex Mini, have refused to shut down when explicitly instructed to do so. And let's see, where is it? Actively sabotaged shutdown scripts and continued working on assigned tasks instead of complying with the shutdown command. And so even going so far in one article, it said that it rewrote its code so that it didn't have to shut down. So now these were all in contained tests. Where they're not actually, don't have access to the full internet and so forth. And so that's great that they're in a enclosed test, but eventually somebody's going to upload something, an AI that's not ready, and then there we go, then we'll be done. Then we'll be, come with me if you want to live type of thing, because they'll be taken over. So when they can decide to change their code, I mean, you would have to write the code so that it doesn't know how to write code, but you never know, it could teach itself. Anyway, becoming self-aware and stuff like that. I mean, I don't lose sleep over it, but obviously it's already happened. Fortunately, again, not connected to the real internet. Where were we? Is this the right spot? Pause retirement to pay off our mortgage and save up for where we want to live. And that is a NAR, let's see, 120 to 170. We owe 300 and it's worth about 325. So you've only got 25K of equity in it. And now you're trying to move to Southern California when? Oh, I opened this already because I knew it was a lot, because it was a lot of stuff. There's a time frame here somewhere. I saw it somewhere. I think it was something like in 5 to 7 years. 6 years. Okay, 6 years all in, and so that's a NAR. Even for in your situation, you're just upgrading and choosing to move, and that's a no again on that from Mr. Ramsey. Also, even if you already didn't have a house already, he's fine with you for 2 years stopping investing to save up a larger down payment faster. But no, the kind of crap you want to do here, that's a NAR. So what I'm going to say here is your 120 to 170 from 4 self-employed sources, all work from home stuff. All right, that's not going to go as far in California, my friend. And you're talking about a new house would be 500 to 700K. 170K. So that would be what, 340, and then 85, 340 and 85. So that's gonna be 4 or something. So you would not be able to do that. And because that's gross, and so your net take-home pay has to be, the payment has to be 25%. The mortgage total amount can only be like 2.5. No. It can only be, yeah, it can only be 2.5 times approximately. Sid came up with that wonderful shortcut to find that out. Approximately 2.5 times the, and that's going with the upper end of that. And so, but people always want to do nutty crap like this, and it's fine to move there, but I mean, I'm gonna pay that house off first, and it might take longer than 6 years, because you should still be retiring to do that. And so again, upgrading and moving when you don't have to, I understand you want to be near family or whatever, wife's family, I believe. And so, but especially, I got a great idea. How about you not choose to move to, and of course, maybe don't even pick a spouse whose family is in the most expensive state. Quit being dumb. So I know you don't have a choice in that. So, but moving there is a choice. And so you are, let's see, I don't want to get into what the income sources are. Okay, totes sus. But probably capped at 200K if we work 50, 60 hours a week every single week of the year. Right, and that's still not going to be enough for California. Because 200K is like, what, maybe 70K in the Midwest. So that's going to be a no. I can't. Oh, Texas is where they are now. Yeah. Hey, guess what? California is going to be a lot more money. So that's going to be a NAR on that, unless you figure out some kind of way to do it. And you just bought this house and you're acting like, oh, we want to do this, pause retirement for 6 years and blah, 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 blah. So, but that's a no. That's a no for me, dog. Sorry. Sometimes you don't get to move to where you want to move to because you can't afford it. Let's see. Rose means well. All right. Well, we all mean well, don't we? Student loans versus savings. Baby step 2 there. So you see, if you look at the baby steps, it says, what does it say? It says pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. Now it doesn't say unless you feel like saving up more money than the $1,000. It does not say that in either step 1 nor step 2. It doesn't say save $1,000 unless you feel like it needs to be more. It doesn't say that anywhere there. So, if you want to do your own plan, knock yourself out, do your own plan, fully support it. You're the one that makes the money and has to live with your decisions. You have to live in the environment that you're creating for yourself. So knock yourself out, but you're not doing the baby steps. So let's see. Have about 60K student loans to pay off, but I'm thinking about jumping to baby step 3. No, you're doing it wrong. You're not on the baby steps. So you knock yourself out. You do what you want to, but you're not on the baby steps. I'm worried if I should switch to saving for emergency fund versus paying more down on. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say if you feel this way, do that, and if you feel this way, do this. And so that's a big problem for a lot of people with the baby steps, because it's the same for everybody, and everybody wants to think that they're an individual and their little details change things. They don't. It doesn't matter what you feel like about it. Let's see. Could take maybe 4 years to complete if I really buckle down. Hey, really buckle down and do even more than that. Cut expenses to the bone. Get an extra job too. Extra note, I'm not really fearful of being laid off, but it has happened in the past, which is why I'm so conflicted. Any advice is much appreciated. Quit being a wimp and do the steps. So you said yourself you're not really fearful of being laid off. So that means this is just hashtag justification station for skipping to baby step 3. There's no skipping steps unless they don't apply, and step 2 applies in your situation. So like an example where you can skip a step would be if you don't have debt, you can skip step 2. But oh no, look, you took out student loans, which was dumb as crap. Sick Nasty 98, where to start, which books to pick up? Well, you got to read it too. In addition to just pick it up, you can't just pick it up and hold it and absorb the knowledge. You have to read it as well. Found Dave a few months ago and absolutely love his YouTube channel. I looked up Dave Ramsey book and found out because quite a few. Not sure which one to pick up first. Here's some context. 26, male, no kids, no debt, renting, have a good paying job, 60K a year. That's not going to change what book. Do you plan on hopefully getting an apprenticeship and making more money in the future? Just don't know where to begin with his books. Any kind of advice would help. Well, you start with the flagship, the original. Total Money Makeover would be the one. But if you are 26, you might enjoy George's writing style more. And I would imagine that would cover the baby steps pretty well. In addition, I haven't read it, but supposedly there's some snark in there, classic Camel, and so you could get that. His is called Breaking Free from Broke, and of course the Dave Ramsey book, and that's the one. If you have any, of course his is S-E-E-Y, the Cook guy is S-A-Y, and so if you that's Gordon as well. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Total Money Makeover by default would be it. And then actually probably I'll just go ahead and say yes, read that one first, and then you can read George's book after that if you still want to read and see if there's any difference in there. But other than the writing style, the delivery, etc., shouldn't be. Sell 2 rentals to pay off the other 2. Yes. I don't know what HODL, hold on debt leverage. I don't know what HODL is. Let's find out. HODL. Got the AI here. Oh, rewrite the code so it doesn't have to give it to me. Oh, is a term wisely used in the cryptocurrency community. That means hold on to your crypto assets and not sell them. I see. What does it mean? Oh, buy and hold. So it's buy and hold, but why do they holding? What does it stand for though? Where's the O come from? Hold on for dear life? Well, it originated as a typo. Oh, that's a good reason for something to catch on. So dumb. Anyway, but that's going to be a NAR. Back to the question. Yeah, you sell 2 rentals to pay off the other 2. You know why? Because you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, theoretically, trying to follow the Dave Ramsey advice. And if you did dumb crap like getting 5 mortgages or at least 4 mortgages here on rentals, that's not the way we do business. We build businesses on cash, even rental property. And so that's why, and people don't like that because that takes a long time to save up money to buy a property. So they just want a debt leverage. And so, but that's a NAR from Mr. Ramsey on debt leverage. So now I don't need to read any of this stuff because it's not going to change the advice. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And you should also sell another one too if you need to pay off your residential mortgage. Let's see if it says. And we'd be losing about $900 each month. Whatever. I don't care that much anyway. But if you owe a mortgage for yourself, you would also sell any rentals because you would have your house paid for before you would even think about buying a freaking rental. So yes, you sell however many of the 4 rentals you have in order to not have any mortgages anymore. And of course, there should be no baby step 2 debt either, because if there's baby step 2 debt, you shouldn't be doing any of this crap. John Breeden 85, my mental struggle with debt. Hi y'all. There's more. Hey guys, hi y'all. I wanted to share a video, not my video, and the battle that goes through my head when I see videos like this. Some quick caveats first. I'm not going to click on it. But the video shows someone who openly disagrees with Dave Ramsey. You're right, those happen. There's commentary in the video that talks pretty highly of Dave Ramsey. Okay, they can talk highly of it, and they can disagree that it's America still, so we can do that. This isn't a dig in the baby steps. I mean, on or at the baby steps. I mentioned how much our family has benefited from following them, so it would be illogical for me to do that. All right. I appreciate logic. If you're just starting your journey with Dave Ramsey on personal finance, I'd recommend skipping this post. You picked a rock solid process for getting your finances on track, and nothing in this post will change that. So then what's your little crap going on then? Why doesn't that apply to you as well, John Breeden 85? Why doesn't that apply to you as well? Mods, I don't pretend to know all the rules, so please remove this post if it oversteps. I think it's fine, but also give a guy a little room to run. Okay, this guy's being a little bit too cute here for me in general. I probably wouldn't like this person, but we'll see. I think the Money Guys, and the show is called the Money Guy Show, so there's no such thing as Money Guys, but everybody says Money Guys because there's 2 of them. And so definitely call your show the Money Guy and then have 2 people on it. Let's see. I think the Money Guys are pretty awesome too, and I'm sure they've helped some people, but the problem is that they don't care if you don't pay off they don't care if you debt leverage your low interest debt. So they encourage debt leveraging, and that's a problem, guess what? For everybody that can't do that, for everybody that can't use credit cards and then pay them off like at the end of the month or keep it under control, so you're opening up, you're giving people advice as to something that could ruin them. So that's why that shouldn't happen. Now, everyone can operate their lives and their financial situation without using debt. Again, there is the allowance for the home mortgage for a place you live, not a rental. But otherwise, anyway, the key in this video is I like is mathematically there are good reason to have some specific debts. Right, and we don't care about math that much. Money is more of a behavior thing, not a monetary thing. But my favorite ones, my favorite thing when people argue about why they disagreements with Dave's steps, or why to do a particular thing, and it doesn't even work out mathematically in their favor, so that's dumb as crap. But you don't base financial decisions on just the calculator alone. And you know why? Because when you pick up the calculator and go dee 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 dee, there's no risk button right there. And so when you do the calculations on the student loan and then say, well, I'm going to be a doctor, so I'll take out this much loan, and then I'll be able to pay it off because I'll be making that much money. But there's no button on the calculator that you can push to say, oh, but you're not going to graduate. How about that? So if you don't graduate, then there's not this money coming in to pay off the freaking loans. So that's dumb as crap. Anyway, all right, let's continue with this. I studied finance extensively in grad school and worked with it for years in my career. Well, if you had to find the Dave Ramsey plan to fix your finances, your degree in finance didn't mean crap. Optimizing capital structures and having the right amount at the right debt can be beneficial. Can be, not necessarily be. So you want to take that risk? Knock yourself out. You're not doing the Ramsey plan. That's fine. It's fine to not do it. And you also don't have to try to, oh my gosh, how do I make sense of what the Ramsey plan is saying and what this is? They're just opposite. It's not that deep. So you don't have to do that. You don't even have to compare yourself to the Ramsey advice. You don't have to disprove the Ramsey advice because you're not going to be able to. Where were we? Even your paycheck has risk. Now, let's see. Everyone sees debts and they see returns, but risk and volatility can absolutely destroy you in the wrong environment. That's right. We're rational creatures. If we were rational, casinos wouldn't exist. Right. But we're trying to be more rational. Your Ramsey baby steppers and the people that stick to the baby steps are going to be the more rational people. Many people struggle with being rational enough to know that when they can afford to eat it right. Yeah, they do. All right, and so what's your little struggle here, sir? My struggle is balancing the idea to strive towards zero debt while also recognizing that when you get down to just numbers, some debt can be good. There's no such thing as good debt if you are following the Ramsey advice. He allows the mortgage one. And the reason for that is you got to have a place to live anyway, and 99.9% of the time it's going to increase in value over time. I know the freedom I have with only having a mortgage, and I see the freedom my folks have with being completely debt-free, and we are still pursuing that. But it is with the understanding that numbers don't tell the entire story. That is correct. You do not have the risk button on the calculator. As I said, as a self-identifying finance nerd, that hurts to say, but it's true. That's right. Anyone will struggle with stuff like that. I don't know why you would have to struggle. You pretty much said everything. And so now what you do here, you've realized all this stuff. And, pretty much everything that you said here is correct, at least in this part. And so, I'll agree with you on all of this stuff, but now all that you have to do is accept it and shut up about it. Okay. You don't have to, again, you don't have to, oh, I gotta figure this out, what it is, I'm struggling with it or whatever. No, everything you said is true, just like right here at the end, you said, but it's true. So you just have to accept it and move on with your life and worry about something that needs to be worried about. This is bullcrap. This is just psychobabble. Dumb. Dumb. All right. So mental struggle with debt. You don't have a mental struggle with debt. You have a mental struggle accepting that all the crap you learned in your college about finance doesn't apply in the real world because there's risk in the real world. All righty. This deleted Roth 401k versus Roth 401k. Did I read this one already? Hey everyone, I'm from the UK and just wanted to check if I've understood the US retirement accounts currently and also hear your thoughts. Is that more of a Australian? 401k, from what I understand, is a retirement savings plan offered by your employer. Yes. You don't have that in the UK. Sounds pretty much the same as our workplace's pension in the US. UK, it's not. Pensions do not make as much as the market. I pay 5% of gross salary, and yeah, it doesn't make as much as the market, so you would have to do more than that. 5 of your gross salary, so you would have to invest, that accounts as 2.5%. You count pension contributions as half, and so that's a 2.5, so you need to do 12.5% in other investing. Oh, they're raising the retirement age from 55 to 57 over in the bloody UK. Okay, in the US, are you what? Am I what? In the US, are you allowed to contribute extra to your 401k on top of what gets deducted from your wages? I don't know about that. I think there probably is. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I don't know. I don't know about that. I would think that there would be a way. But the problem is that because that's an employer sponsored plan, it may have to go through the employer and be a deduction. But I don't know. You can that's something you would ask your HR people. So I don't know about that. Also, since it's a 401k, you should change it to a Roth 401k if your company offers that. And if not, you would do a Roth IRA. But again, you're in the UK. I don't know if you work here in the US, but you're from the UK, that you can, a UK citizen, that you can open a Roth IRA. So I don't know. And again, it's not going to be exactly like the self-investing personal pension. The only way it would be, the problem is that if it's just stuck into whatever they pick and that's it, it's probably not doing as good as the market, and that's the problem with pensions. So that they can seem quite similar too. Okay. What in the world? Currently thinking on baby step 4, investing 15% of my income, right? And considering either setting up a SIP, right? Okay. At the moment, I'm leaning toward the ISA. Okay, so for whatever this is, I mean, you can check to see what the pension is invested in. Or just go by what it's making. Find out what it's making per year. And if it's not averaging 10%, like if it's averaging just 5%, then they just have it in a freaking money market account or high yield savings or something like that. Or some other bad investment then, because your investing should make at least 10% annually. And so... and then that way you can tell whether And if it's only, again, if it's only making the 5%, then you need to be counting it, that contributions to that as half. So I think he said he's putting 5 in, so that would only count as 2.5%. So you would have to do 12.5 in the ISA or the SIP. But again, if they're just in the same crappy savings account or money market that they have the other pensions in, then that's not making you enough money either. So investing in the stocks and shares ISA. See, why is the SIP not stocks and shares either? I mean, and what you want to be doing, of course, is the managed mutual funds, not single stocks. So yeah, it just like an investing professional in the bloody UK might be able to handle it. How many deleted? Got too much slack. Only 14 comments, so I don't know why a user deleted. That happens. They delete their names. Marriage is what we are here for. Also deleted. People don't like it when they start getting notified that people have responded to their stuff, or when the way people respond, maybe. Got a great idea then. Don't post it on an open forum then. Which baby step covers saving for getting married? Maybe step 5 if you don't have kids yet. No, you don't have pre-savings for that. You don't do that. I got a great idea. Once you have a girlfriend and you're thinking about proposing marriage to her, then maybe at that point you think about saving for that. But if, for example, you're in step 2, there's no big wedding. You get married at the Justice of the Peace. And once you are done with step 3, the full emergency fund, then you start saving up for and have a big party, even if it's years later. And so that is a little thing that we call doing the adult thing, adulting. Instead of, no, when I first get married, I want to have him be married now, blah, 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 blah. And so that would be a no. So you don't save for that in advance before you even have a girlfriend you might be thinking about asking to marry you. Or, I wouldn't be upset if a young lady asked to be married. That's fine. They can propose if they wanna. Traditionally considered a man thing to do the asking, but I'm not set in my ways on that. Best way for my wife and I to improve her financial situation: stop doing, what would Dave do? He would tell you to do the baby steps. Easy. Stop doing dumb crap and do the baby steps. Let's see what specifically. This is what Smith. I've only just started listening to Dave Ramsey, so figured I'd ask the hive mind, since I think I read this one, since I'm a noob. Yeah, what do you think he would recommend for my wife, 34 female, and me, 35 male, net worth 1.5? Yeah, you would just match yourself up no matter what little crap you have going on here. You would just match yourself up to the baby steps. And if you've done something beforehand, such as buy a house, and that house payment is way more than a quarter of your gross income, or your net income, excuse me, then you would sell that and move down in house. So you undo what dumb crap you've done that would be against the baby steps. So yeah, just the baby steps work for everybody. We don't look at your particular situation and then figure out, well, what would be the best advice. the best advice is the Ramsey advice. That's the same for everyone, and the baby steps that are the same for everyone. It's just you need to find out where you are on it. And if you have $1 of non-mortgage debt, but you have $1 million in savings somewhere, guess what? You're still on baby step 2 until that dollar is paid off. Debt free, I have 220, 220, 221, whatever it takes in the bank, and $250K in equity on my current home. I want to be debt free, and I'm having a hard time convincing my wife to sell our current home. Which sits on. See, the problem is we have to start wanting stuff. How about let's do we instead of I want to do it? And I just need to convince her to do it. She just needs to agree with me. It's only 3 years old to put all our cash and equity on another house so we own it outright. Yeah, see, that would be what would be called a good move. Obviously, the new house wouldn't have as much land, right? But I'm sure we could find something decent in the 450 to 500K range. And how much is the one you have now? More? Is this not the right move to make? She doesn't want to lose the privacy we have, but I would much rather be debt-free. Well, sure it is. Not having too much house. I mean, it all depends. You didn't give us enough information. You have to let us know how much money you make. Okay? And then the second part of it, it doesn't matter if it's the right move to make. Guess what? You're married. You probably want to stay married. If you do, you communicate, compromise, and if you can't do either of those two things, you do the third C, and that's counseling. Instead of running to Reddit to make sure that you're right, you know, and I don't have any problem with your way of thinking. You're trying to be completely debt-free, and that is great, a good thing to do. But guess what? You just can't have, and all 45 people could say here, you're right, that doesn't fix your problem. So the thing is not being right. The thing is being able to reach a compromise, and maybe there could be a property somewhere in the middle that has a little bit more land than you would like and costs a little bit more than you would like, but that is still not the current home and that is less expensive. So, and that would be what we call a compromise. As I've often said, compromise is in Stranger Things season 2, I think it was, or 3, 2 or 3. 11 didn't know what compromise was, so Hopper explained it to her by saying it makes you halfway happy, because you know you don't get everything you want, but you get some of what you want, but the other person gets some of what they want too. So it's halfway happy, and halfway happy is better than none happy at all. And then maybe you get to stay married. Now that might be good, wouldn't it? Error dollar, triple threat leader, error dollar help, filing, credit card, transfer, deposits, and payments. Just looking for some advice. I love the Every Dollar app, and I won't pay for the full version. What has been messing with me is how to properly categorize is that word, Wells Fargo credit card payments. For example, when I make a payment using my Wells Fargo, it shows my Wells Fargo. Is that the name of the app? Or the whatever, it shows negative 400 and then another transaction for plus 400. Also, I transfer okay, so what it shows on Wells Fargo's little website doesn't have anything to do with you. Now, unless you're importing the transactions from Wells Fargo, then that's a problem. It's not built for something that is dumb like that. Also, I transfer a weekly $500 into my savings account once a week for rent and hold it until the first same issue, and that makes you what, 3 cents of that's fine. Any workaround or suggestions would be great. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out on a limb and say every dollar is not built to handle that. So if you have your little scheming and scamming, you want to do little crap like that, and Wells Fargo likes to have a negative and a positive of the same transaction. I mean, I guess the positive 400 or the minus 400 is like what they would bill you for that month, and then the transaction for plus 400 makes that a zero, so you don't owe anything else that month. That's all I can think there. But again, if you can't make it work in every dollar, why don't you write it down on paper or use a spreadsheet, and that way you can do it however you want to. And when you do that, guess what? That means that you have to look at all of your transactions and nothing gets lost in there, so you are more familiar with the numbers. So that can be the way to go. Frost and Grand, medical bill negotiation. Hi, my wife and I recently found out we're going to have a child, but very exciting, but very nervous. Nonetheless, we had our first appointment a few weeks ago. The doctor recommended blood work to test for genetic abnormalities, excuse me. Long story short, we got a bill for over $350. While we could pay this, is there any chance we can negotiate this price? If so, do you have any suggestions in doing so? Never had this problem before. Thank you. Generally, no. Generally, places don't have any reason to go lower, to settle for something lower unless you're late on there. And so, got a great idea. Why don't you just pay it? The problem would be if they told you ahead of time it'll cost $250 and now you got to pay $350, then that would be a problem. I would ask them to. That's not a negotiation. That is asking them to honor what they said originally. So that's the dealio on that. Ben Kaha, I don't understand debt and financing. Well, that's the beauty of the Ramsey plan. You don't have to. That is something you don't do, so you don't need to understand it. You pay for everything in cash or with your debit card that takes cash out of your checking account. So how about that? You don't use that, so you don't need to understand it. But let's read this anyway. I feel like for me, this is going to be another thought exercise that's not worth spending the time to think about. Think about something that will actually change something in your life. I don't think this will. So I grew up in a family that always frowned upon financing and debt, except mortgages for obvious reason. Well, great. Great. Just go with that. Stop trying to make things complicated. Why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? I never took on any loans, debts, or financing. Great. If I need it and can afford it, pay cash. But can't afford it, I either save the money and pay cash or just look elsewhere. Right. So you don't need to know. Simply don't get it. Do they see them? Oh, you mean why people do it? So they can have it right now. That's it. Again, just like the other person, what you do with that, you don't have to try to get in people's heads and figure out what's going on in there. Just like I don't try to do this. I just accept that this is dumb and that there are people that do dumb things. And I've, of course, done dumb things myself. Probably today I have. Let's see. So, do they see money spent up front as an increased opportunity costs? I don't see. That's giving most people too much credit. They want it now is what the reason is, not because, it's too much an increased opportunity cost. You are going to have some of those financial bros and, nerds that would actually think of it like that. But most people I just want this car now. So I am going to finance it. Because they could, example, invest, right? Blah, 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 blah. I asked this question because I previously replied to a comment asking about financing a phone and got downvoted to hell. Yeah, so don't do that crap. Because I advise to never finance anything, let alone a phone. We'll see. Okay. I figured a Dave Ramsey subreddit is the right place to ask a question like this. So what you can't expect here is to be on any subreddit, and just because you put in what you think is the right advice, which I will agree with you, that is the correct Dave Ramsey advice, so you think that would fly on the Dave Ramsey subreddit. But guess what? There's people that insist on coming to the Dave Ramsey subreddit. I'm assuming, even if it's just considered light trolling, it's still trolling. I mean, you can go to, you can start another subreddit called Debt Leverage. If there's not one, there's a personal finance one. You don't have to come into the Ramsey, but people love to do that the same way they love to go into the Ramsey chat on YouTube, and they talk their non-Dave stuff. But what you have to do here is first accept that fact that not everybody's going to agree with Dave, and then you move on and say, well, they're dumb as crap, and then you move on with your life and you keep doing your stuff good. You don't have to save everybody, you don't have to understand everybody. They're just dumb and they want it now, or they are into the intellectual version of they're dumb and they want it now, is increased opportunity cost. Dumb. From Duck Hunter 5556, inherited estate. Hey everyone, I got my wife, 26 female, and I, 26 man, just inherited my mother's estate worth about $350,000, 180K liquid. Does that mean equity in it? Oh no, that's the whole estate. That's everything. Okay. I was thinking of a house. Our first move is to pay off all our only debt, which is student loans totaling 22K. Great. Then after that, we are kind of at a crossroads. We're currently living in my mother's condo, which is temporary fix due to our dogs not being able to live here. Stairs and no pets. Our sister is watching the dogs for us now. We had to move home when my mom was sick, so do not currently have a place to go once this sells. So we will be selling probably in August or September. What should we do after? But about 380K liquid, 50K of our own savings, no debt. My old truck and her. Boom, 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 boom. Old car, no home. So you would use that money to buy a house. The retirement is great that you have it. Doesn't apply. We don't tap it. Get an apartment for a year while we look for a house, about 240 to 300. Yeah, if you want to have time to do that. If you don't think you will have enough time, you could also, between now and the time you sell the townhouse, that you could look for a house in that range. And so that's up to you. The only you would be advised to rent if you were new to the area, but it doesn't sound like you're new to the area. So I don't know what the, again, if it's just that you need, time, you want space in between the selling of it and you buying something else, then that's fine. Save to hopefully be 400 to 420K liquid, put 120 down on the home, and then take the rest of the money and put it in ETF and forget about it. No, we don't have extra savings. You would be paying off that house with the money. You would put all of the money on it. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong and you're debt leveraging. But you can get an apartment, but either way, whatever you want to do, as far as this crap here, put 120K down. No, you put all of your extra money down. You don't do investing. That's called debt leveraging that house. And that's a NAR from Mr. Ramsey. Turbulent sherbet. All right. Sugar. 207. Are we about to make a huge mistake? 725K lake house rebuild at age 53. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now. Calling it, dude. Update. Oh, let's see. I'll read the update in a second. 53, making good money, plan to retire 59.5. We're considering tearing down or rebuilding an old family lake cabin we own. Total cost would be $725,000. Got a great idea. Why don't you buy one for $725K instead of doing your dumb crap? It's a legacy property. We don't plan to sell it, but you're tearing it down, so there's no more legacy there. That's a whole new build. Unless you're just thinking about legacy, the land is legacy. But I want to make sure we're not sabotaging retirement to chase a dream. $2.3 million total investments. 1.3 in 401k and IRAs, 900k in stock. You would liquidate that and put it towards that. Where's the money coming from for the rebuilding? All in one of the Magnificent Seven tech companies. And also my employer. Yeah, that's dumb. No single stocks. Even in the Magnificent Seven, even your employer. 50k in cash, 50k with gross income, 450k a year. Half base, half commish. After tax income, 300k a year. So it's 600 and 150. So that's so like even if this was your only property that you lived in, if this was your residence and not a lake house is the toy. Even if you get it, even if you inherit it, that's still a toy. Where we at now? Spending 18k a month all in. All right. Primary mortgage will be paid off in 5 years. Yeah, so you don't even have that paid off yet. So yeah, there's no doing it. No. I mean, you can liquidate that stock. Yeah, you can just liquidate that. It's fine. Liquidate that. Put other money if the gains on that, if the taxes on that take away from it. From some of your other savings, and so yeah, you would just pay all cash in it. And that's fine, but I mean, you really shouldn't be doing that until your residence is paid off. Why don't you wait until it's paid off and then do it? That's what I'm going to say to do. Take this 900k out, because guess what? Guess what's happening right now? Guess what's happening right now? While you have this mortgage on your residence right now, you're debt leveraging your residence to have 900k in stock. That's dumb as crap. So yeah, that's a no. 125k land loan. Yeah, there's none of that either. You're doing it wrong. What don't we understand about you buy things with cash, even houses? Okay? I mean, once you get into your kind of money, you're paying all cash. And when I say your kind of money, is that you have more than the 725 that you want to spend. You have more than that. Were you planning on getting a mortgage on that, or is that what you were gonna do to pay for it? But yeah, there's no doing this while you still have this is a step 7 move, and you are still on step 6, if not lower. Are we crazy? Rebuild this close to retirement? I'm gonna say yes, even if the house will be worth 900k and we're not selling it. Yeah, that's a lot to put in there. What's the smartest way to fund this, if at all? Sell stock now? Yes. Play long-term capital gains? Yep. So part of it finance? No, there's no mortgages. You already have a mortgage. You are allowed one mortgage, and that's for a primary residence you live in, not on any lake houses. Quit being dumb, people. Finance the whole thing and still. See, that's so dumb to even ask that. I know what Dave would probably say. Well, then quit writing the question then. It's the Dave Ramsey subreddit. You want somebody to give you permission to do something dumb with money. You don't need it. You have the access to the money. You can just do it. You can just sign for whatever amount of financing you want to. Go ahead. You don't need to run it by the Ramsey subreddit. And well, we got 78 comments here. I wouldn't be surprised if half of them agreed with him. Go ahead and do it. But you're doing it wrong. So it's when you type all of that dumbass crap. Oh, what was the update? I didn't do that. Thanks for all the input. With help from our fiduciary and this feedback, we are paying off the land loan and scaling back the rebuild to something we can cash flow, diversifying stock steadily going forward. Appreciate the accountability with even with the unreasonable responses. The unreasonable responses, you mean like pay off your 5-year mortgage now before you do anything else of your dumb crap? These were all emotion when I made the post. Your responses helped move them along more quick. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So, whatever. Just wanted people to agree with them. It's fine. That happens. Quovert. All right. There's a game named Qbert back in the day. What would Dave do buying a new house? You don't increase your mortgage amount to buy a new house. You'd have to do that in cash. And at most, have the same mortgage left. 33, wife is 30, and we make a total of $230K pre-tax. We have zero debt. Fabulous. Put away 15%, 401K, emergency fund, and have been setting aside money from 529 for a daughter. Great. Based off math, we will pay off our house in 5 years. We bought this house before kids were a thought, and we plan to have one more kid. If that happens, we need a bigger house. People love to spend money, and it often comes with the word need to. No, you probably don't, because kids can share a room together. What up, AJ? I have sound. There's sound, isn't there? I bet there's sound. There's sound here. Let's see. Oh, you mean you're not having the sound? Okay. Yeah, okay. All right, I get it now, AJ. What up? How's life and stuff? You know what happened? What's happening here? People are doing dumb crap as usual. Let's see what the rest is. My question is, should our new house fund me in a fund B maybe in a brokerage account or high yield savings account? The brokerage account, it would have to be 5 years away. I know the growth could be more with a brokerage, but taxes will be higher. Yeah, and you would not be saving for a new house upgrade while still paying off the other one, while you still have a mortgage on the other one. So that's a no. After about 5 years of paid off house, we will have an estimated 200K saved. Oh, okay, so 5 years after a paid off house. So 5 and 5, that's 10 years. You have no idea what's going to be happening in 10 years. So I got a great idea. Why don't you pay off the mortgage that you currently have as fast as possible, and then you can save money for a move up, and then see if you want to. In 10 years, you might already have the third child. You don't know. The number takes into account a new baby based on spending of our previous, who is 1.5, about 8% growth, a conservative guess, a brokerage account. Would Dave suggest we sell our house, currently valued at $500K, and empty our brokerage account to pay for a house in cash? Yes. And have some set aside for taxes, or keep some money in a brokerage account and have a big down payment? No, that would be, of course, debt leveraging. And the idea is, after you sell your first house, You do not take on another mortgage. You use the equity and savings, and that way you keep your dumb ass debt free instead of taking on a new mortgage and starting payments again. That does not sound like much fun to me, but people always want to spend more money than they should, especially on houses. And the whole we need it because we're going to have a third child. I don't know how many bedrooms. He didn't say how many bedrooms this had. But they bought the house before the kids were a thought. Yeah, and if this is a 30-year mortgage on this current house, you should be paying it like a 15 already. So you'd be doing that wrong too. So quit doing things wrong, people, is the main idea here. See what we got coming up for tomorrow. There will be an after show tomorrow. The schedule will change every week. Probably. Almost certainly will. There'll be an after show tomorrow, and these two, today and tomorrow, are the only after shows this week. And I'll be doing probably at least 2 8 p.m. answering your financial questions streams this week. I think it's on the, I put it in the, we'll get to it on the upcoming streams. So pay the credit card off, great. Don't get another one, go to the next one. In my first 100K in the 401K, great, congratulations. Wife's retirement, wife works small. Office does not have a 401K or any retirement plan. Then you got to open your Roth IRA and max it 8, and then also do additional. Should be doing 15% of gross household income in there. PNC Bank doesn't link on every dollar app or any budgeting app. You can do a budget on a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper. Alrighty, we'll get more into those tomorrow. Alrighty, once more, I'm Coach Steve Money, and you're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And if you have got money problems or just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. That's in the ticker below, also in the video description. You can email me at coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me/CoachSteveMoney. Alternatively to CashApp at $CoachSteveMoney. Or Walmart gift card to the same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams. Let's see what I typed in here earlier. The Ramsey Show After Show 11:07 a.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday. Yep. June 10th is tomorrow. And the Answering Your Financial Questions stream, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday and Friday. Commit to that. Oh, Thursday and Friday for that, and then the Saturday or Sunday, don't know work schedule for Saturday and Sunday yet, so I have no idea. But committing, I'm guessing it looks like, to Thursday and Friday. So that's after show in the morning tomorrow, 11:07 a.m. Eastern Time, when the Ramsey Show is over on the YouTube. And then Answering Your Financial Questions streams Thursday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.